Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Episode 5.
Wow.
Here we go.
Cooking. We are cooking here. We are burning through these. We're going to do 10 more after this. We're not burning. This is fun.
It is so much fun. Yeah, this is our 3rd episode this recording session, and we're just having a blast. We couldn't stop.
Yeah, we both have very important things to do, but we cannot. We have to pause and push them away.
Aside.
We apologize to the surgery people that we're going to know. What I hope is that you guys out there are having as much fun as we are with this.
Yeah.
It's a blast.
And it really does feel like we have another friend in the room that is just more quiet, and they're just more of a listener.
Yeah.
And they're just listening to us crazy people talk. And I love that.
We love starting this, getting into this and starting this off with a Muppet fact or quote. Let's get right into it.
Yes. All right, and you picked the
I
last
think
one.
I picked last. Oh, no, yeah, I picked last. So
Yeah.
It's you.
Okay, so I'm going to pick out of this Muppet quote or fact hat. Here we go. I always feel like I want to pick out of the bottom.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
All right, let's see. So far, the facts and the quotes are tied.
2-2. Yeah,
Yes.
start out.
Let's see, the tiebreaker. It's a fact.
Oh, cool.
The Muppets made regular appearances on SNL first season in 1975. However, due to the different comedic vibes that SNL has versus the Muppets, it didn't last very long, but it is still a good exposure for the Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
I think you brought that up like the first episode,
Yeah.
I think, that they used to be on SNL.
Yeah.
And I remember reading that fact, and I didn't know that. So I was like, that is bizarre. So I think I saw like a very small clip, and I was like, it's weird.
It is. It's very weird. It's very weird.
Like, I can appreciate it, and I think that's kind of the direction they were going for the reboot Muppet Show in like the 2014 era, to have it more like adult. And I can appreciate it, but sometimes it crosses this line where I'm like, oh, it's not comfy.
Yeah, it is. There are grown adults older than us that feel that same thing because we grew up with the Muppets as kids. But when they're doing this, there were no Muppets. There was no Muppet Show. There was no kids growing up on Muppets. But there were kids growing up on puppeteering, like Lamb Chop or some of those characters and everything. So even without Muppets, you still have this preconceived kind of basis in your head of these of Muppets, of puppets, I should say, not Muppets, puppets, and. They had a good intention. I like what they were doing, especially because they did something that would help out my show, The Simpsons, a little bit later on.
Another tally for those of you who are keeping track.
It's actually getting really bad now, and I'm starting to get a cut.
Not even on purpose. We discussed this in I think it was the 2nd episode, that you do have a problem, but it's okay. It's addressed, and you're living with it. Yeah.
So they do this because the actors during SNL, it's a live show, costume changes. We need something to be playing during the costume changes. So the Muppets, Jim Henson and that, I think Lauren Michaels and Jim Henson actually were friends or something like that.
Okay.
And so they have this idea. Well, we'll have the Muppets have sketches, and that will be going on while Belushi and Radner and all these characters are changing in the background.
Yeah.
And we got to do we want to do adult humor, but these are kid characters. So how do we do that? And kind of doing actually a precursor to kind of like what Pixar and a lot of these shows would do eventually, where we're not trying to get kids to the theater. We're trying to get parents to the theater, and the kids are just kind of like added bonus.
Yeah.
And so how do you do that? You insert adult humor here and there, where and you do it stylishly enough to where kids don't even notice.
Yes. I think that when you can do it and it's done well, like, kudos. Because when you go back to watch it as a kid, you're like, oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
You had a precursor here to that with this, where they had the idea, they were just ahead of the game. They were just way too early on it. And I also think that they, to nobody's fault, there was nothing like Saturday Night Live on TV. And so you don't have a blueprint, you have no outline.
Yeah.
So you're trying to figure this out in real time as you go along, similar to how we're doing this podcast.
I was just thinking that, yeah. Bear with us, please. We're all friends here.
And by episode 60, it's not going to look anything like this probably. It's going to change. It's going to evolve a little bit. And there's going to be things that are very consistent and some stuff that like, oh, look at how they used to do it. SNL, the Tracy Ullman show went through this, and that's how The Simpsons was created, because they were trying to figure out a way for this to carry the episode while the actors were changing costumes. And they needed something to do that. Well, Muppets don't work. We saw that with Saturday Night Live. How about a little animated thing, a little minute, 30-second animated episode and stuff, and then you get The Simpsons.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It starts on the Tracy Ullman show doing that. It spins off into The Simpsons.
Wow, I feel like we got a few facts out of that little nugget of a fact.
Facts that you should always look up if I say them. Like double check my facts. Or double check, triple check. Done a lot of damage to his brain. Done a lot of damage to it. That's good. That's a great start.
Yeah, awesome. What a good start to the episode. And now you get to pick the Muppet or Muppet movie that this episode will be based on.
So, hey, do you think, and I'm not doing this to buy myself some time and stretch the episode out at all, do you think that we should, before we grab the current Muppet, we should mention the ones we've had already?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of doing this in real time here.
Yeah, we should test ourselves to see if we can remember in chronological order.
Ooh,
because once we get to episode like 20 or something.
Right. It's gonna be.
I like that. Yeah.
That's good.
Good idea.
Okay, so our first Muppet was
Marvin Suggs.
It was Marvin Suggs. It was Marvin. I couldn't remember if he was second or first. Yeah, Marvin was our first. Yeah, Marvin.
Marvin was our first.
Yeah. And then, of course, number 2 was Animal.
Animal!
Which was awesome. Such a perfect... it was
absolutely.
The 1 2 so was so good there. Then our third one was Lips. We just did the other. That one was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Sweetums.
Sweetums. Yes.
I think we have a personal favorite so far.
Yes, I agree.
That was a lot of fun.
Now I'm just listing them off. Now I'm just imagining them all in this like green room, hanging out together, waiting to see which Muppet's gonna walk in next. You're like, oh, welcome, and they have snacks and
That's
everything.
So good. That image will be in my head for all of time now.
It's actually making me a little emotional.
Yeah.
Which is very goofy, but
you're
so
not alone.
sweet.
I got hit by it too. I did. I felt
it's
it too.
wholesome.
Oh, that's great. That's
oh
great.
my gosh. So who's going to be joining them in the green room?
Let's see.
Thanks for bringing that up, because that's going to be so fun to add.
Oh.
What is it?
Ralph the dog.
Ralph! We just brought him up last episode.
We just brought him up.
Honestly, so funny. So funny. And he was actually brought to life before Kermit was. Yeah, he was like one of Jim's first Muppets. That was such like a soft spot for Ralph. He's like the funny uncle kind of Muppet kind of guy.
And one of the things that I love about doing this or anything creative is the things that you go into it, you think and you know, and you're almost planning on, and then there's the stuff you could have never seen coming.
Yeah.
And I had no idea this show, I knew that it would pull on me, my heartstrings, doing it with you. And wanting more and more time with you and to do more with you and all that. So I knew that this is always going to be a little emotional for me just on that level.
Yeah.
But I had no idea not just the nostalgia I knew I'd feel. I didn't know that it was going to pull at my heart some of these characters and bring me back to being a little kid again with some of these. And I mentioned before that Gonzo's one of my favorite characters in anything, let alone Muppets. And I felt a love for Gonzo immediately seeing him on screen.
Yes.
But I don't think I felt a kinship with any other character like I did with Ralph.
Really?
And in part because I thought
kinship is a very like specific like feeling and word. I'm very interested to hear about this.
So Miss Piggy wanted to be a star.
Yeah.
Gonzo liked to entertain. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting the name. The guy with the fish.
Sweet.
Throwing the fish all the time and stuff.
New Zealand.
Yeah. There's certain characters that were kind of built as entertainers.
Yeah.
But none of them as clear cut as Ralph.
Yeah.
Ralph was he's the piano guy. He's the guy that and like other kids. So many Muppets are I don't know what Gonzo is. I don't know what this is. But Ralph is a dog. He's a dog.
Yeah.
You know what Ralph is. And there's something so like pleasing and welcoming to Ralph, and like, hey, like you hit it perfect. Ralph is that uncle that always made you laugh. He's that. So I didn't know until I got much older how much Ralph meant to me, and how comforting I felt Ralph was.
Yeah, aw.
And we moved around, you know, you and I have this in common. We moved around a lot in life. I moved around a lot, so did you. When that happens to a kid, for those that don't have that in their background, every child needs a routine.
Yeah.
When you move around a lot, that routine gets muddled up a lot. So your routine becomes that much more vital. Your parents' situation, your siblings' situation, teaching, a lot of that, and the toys that you have, and the consistency of that. I don't know about if this happened to you, but for me, every time we moved, I lost toys. I you know, just gets lost in the shuffle, and it's nobody's fault. I'm not, you know, it just happens. My stuffed animal Ralph and my stuffed animal Kermit were two of the only toys I had with me everywhere I went.
I didn't know you had little plushies of that.
I had my favorite was my Kermit, because Kermit had the Velcro hands and on his feet, and so you could put those together, wrap them around your shoulders and stuff like that and everything, and run around with them. And it was awesome. It was awesome. I didn't have a lot of moments that I was a complete kid. Those were some of those moments.
Wow.
And my stuffed Ralph was so soft. I just remember it being like its own pillow almost.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
I don't even know the last time I thought about any of that. It has to have been almost 20 years since I thought of any of that. But it just, as soon as I saw Ralph's face, I had to like take a second there because it really hit me.
I know, I could see it on your face, and I thought it was honestly Gonzo, and that's why you were making that face. Oh wow, this is gonna be so much fun because I love Ralph's character. He's so like dry humor funny that like he could be on the Dry Bar channel on YouTube and just have like a whole stand up. He's so funny, and he has like his little parts that he has, they stand out to me so much because they're just hilarious. Like in the Muppet movie with Jason Segel that we were talking about last episode, they're having like a montage of like Kermit and Fozzie like trying to get like the Muppets back together. And Ralph's like, why didn't you include my clip in the montage? And they're like, they flip back to Ralph's clip and he's asleep in a hammock. And they approach him, they're like, Ralph, and he wakes up, he's like, hey. They're like, do you want to get the Muppets back together? He's like, yeah, sure. I love his character so much, and I feel like we were kind of talking about this with the fact that it's kind of weird to think of the Muppets in an adult setting. But if I was to like grab a beer with one of the Muppets, it's Ralph. Yeah. And I would have so much fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It would just be incredible.
You're gonna have a memorable night with Ralph.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's talented.
Was one of the first Muppets too, to me, that was having the creative fun with the names. You know, Rolf. Not Ralph, Rolf.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so
Absolutely.
Right. For every Kermit the Frog or Miss Piggy, there's a Ralph. There's a Lips. There's a little pun, but a little bit play on the name and the character, and which to me is always another breaking of the fourth wall. It's a little bit of that. It's which I love. Every bit I
absolutely. All of the Muppets have the perfect name assigned to them, and they couldn't be named anything else.
And Ralph to me also always seemed to me to be actually the comedic one. Even though Fozzie was the literal comedian in there and everything. Fozzie, I think, was a good one for a lot of us growing up because they weren't funny. But Fozzie is a comedian who's not that funny. Yeah, and you feel for him. Yeah. That's part of his charm. That's part of what we like about him. Whereas Ralph, I think, is sneaky funny.
Absolutely, and I love that humor so much. So funny. I'm recalling all of these snippets that I want to mention and say, but I don't want to ruin any movie moments or anything like that. So we know that Ralph is like a giant dog Muppet. How would you describe him personality-wise?
Almost undog-like. Where a dog is squirrel.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, what was it? It was a squirrel. That's very much a dog mentality.
Yes.
Ralph doesn't seem to be that way.
Yeah.
Ralph seems to be pretty like, being able to stay with the conversation and being able to not be distracted and all of that. Moment.
Yeah. I think he's laid back.
Yeah, laid back.
For
definitely.
sure.
Definitely laid back. It's tough to imagine Ralph intense.
Yeah.
It's tough to imagine him in a high stakes situation.
I think he just kind of walks the other way. He's like, they don't need me.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
I think that he can be, he's a realist. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that. I was gonna say cynical, but I don't think he's cynical. I think he's more of like on the realist side, and he's sarcastic.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, there's something about that just speaks to us. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I know I said I wasn't gonna mention any like clips from the movies, but I have to mention this clip because it was just made me laugh so much. In one of the more recent movies the Muppets did, the Muppets Most Wanted, which going into that movie I was like, I'm excited to see it because it's a Muppet movie. Honestly, probably one of my favorite Muppet movies.
Cool.
It was I think about it so much because it was so funny. The music was great, amazing characters. I will watch it with you if you need somebody to watch it.
Oh, that's another team building thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's homework.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, trying to like cut it short, Walter, one of the newer Muppets to be escorted in, it said that he has quit the Muppets, and this is the movie directly after the new Muppet movie with Jason Segel, and where they introduce Walter into the Muppets. And it cuts to Ralph, and he's like, "We just spent an entire movie bringing him in." It was just so funny. Because again, it's that breaking of the fourth wall, and they acknowledge it so beautifully. It's so hysterical every time.
I grew up watching a lot of my favorite directors talk about they want to submerge the listener, the watcher, into the movie, and you forget you're even watching a movie. And I love the intention of that. I think that's really good on paper. Barely even close to becoming possible. Like there's very few times we have scenes that pull us in and that we feel like we're lost, but very seldom for 2.5 hours do you completely forget that you are not in that reality. And I like the directors, a lot of the modern directors or modernish directors that kind of own that. They're like, you're coming to the theater to see a movie. I'm not going to try to change that. We're going to have fun with this, and we're going to have break a little bit of the fourth wall, whether that's directly or indirectly. We're going to do a little of that. I think Robert Rodriguez is a great director at it, where he can do this balance of real while also, it goes a little way out here in the left field sometimes, but you go there with him because he pulled you in with some of the other stuff.
Sure.
I think the Muppets have been doing this forever. They've always done this.
Absolutely.
I think we as a society are just starting to catch up.
Yeah, well, I can't remember if it was the last episode or the episode before that where it was the fact about the laugh track.
Yeah.
And how Kermit says, like, "Thank you, laugh track, you've been great tonight." Like you said, they've been breaking the fourth wall. They probably invented it, honestly, or just made it popular.
Maybe,
yeah. Well, Ralph the dog, you're going to make a terrific Muppet for this episode.
Oh, thank you, Ralph.
So what scenario are we going to put Ralph in? Oof. This is going to be so much fun.
I don't know what scenario I don't want to see Ralph in. Any scenario. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. Okay. Oh, this is really, really funny. Okay. If you got into an argument with this Muppet, what would it be about? It would be about, like, the stupidest thing.
It'd be one of those things where, 3 or 4 hours after the argument, you're kicking yourself, like, why did I fight about that?
Right, why are we even fighting about it anymore?
It wasn't even worth fighting over.
And I feel like he would be such a lazy, argumentative, on the other side. Like, you'd be pouring all this passion and energy into your argument, and he would just say one thing that would derail it, and you'd be like, no! And he doesn't start all over.
There are people in your life that, whether you know it or not, that you could never imagine them in this insert situation.
Yeah.
You could never picture them angry. You could never picture them sad, whatever it might be. This is a perfect question for him because of this. I don't think many of us can imagine Ralph confrontational.
Yeah.
I even in little scenes when we've seen him doing that as a character, it's always almost the essence of the character that you don't take too seriously. And usually when they put him in situations like that, you're not supposed to be taking it too seriously. You're supposed to be laughing with it.
And I don't think if we were in an argument with him, I don't think he would be taking the argument seriously, but you're still in an argument. I
think that Ralph, in not in a mean way I say this, I think he'd actually be really bad at arguing.
Yeah.
At not only giving his side and why he's fighting passionately for this part of the cause or part of the conversation or whatever. But even like taking your feedback, what you're saying, seems a little like he might be one of those people that walks away from the situation.
Yeah.
Like, I need a moment, I need a break, I need to time out from this, and then comes back and reassesses.
Yeah, I never thought about this, but I think that Ralph is accidentally like a dudist. Is that what they call it? The dude from...
Yes.
What's the movie?
From the Big Little House.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that he's definitely like practicing that. So if you got in an argument with him, he might entertain it, not vocally, but he'll just be present and listen to you. But then when you're done and you're like, you know, like animal, like, and you're done arguing, he would be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Just like, I really don't have enough the energy for this. I'm gonna go sleep in my hammock.
I feel like he would even, I could even see him like getting to a point in the conversation, like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Fine, let's just move on.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, even if he didn't care, like, or if he didn't believe it, he would say it.
Exactly.
Just to move on, just be done with this.
I am not an argument person. I think I've been in like I could count on one hand like how many times I've been in an argument where my voice like rises. But it's just, I don't know what we would even argue about. It would probably be something like, did you spill this? I didn't spill it. Yeah, you're the only one in the room. It's just something silly like that.
I feel like your argument with Ralph would be something one of those things where it's him not like, Ralph's not eating good enough. Or something like that. It's something where you're fighting with him to take care of him.
Yeah,
you know, why are you doing this? Like, we shouldn't be fighting about this. You know.
Exactly.
Our family, my dad's side of the family, the Italian side of the family, they are very much, and you will learn this more and more as we go along here. The people that shout "I love you." Like, I love you! Like, it's like, oh, are you mad at me? No, I just really love you! It's like, okay, all right, calm down. Ralph feels a little like that in the sense of arguing or any of this. Like, he wouldn't believe that he is arguing with you. Like, he's
we're just talking, and we're like, no, we're fighting right now.
We're fighting right now. Why are you not fighting with me?
We're having a deep
My voice is up here, Ralph. Why is yours down here? It's like, well, I'm really passionate too. It's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you're passionate.
Wow, that's perfect. Well, that is Ralph the dog in an argument.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's not that bad. I think when it's all said and done, you'd be like, you want to just like go grab a beer or something? I don't know. And he'd be like, yeah, let's go.
I never like the idea of looking at an argument of who won and who lost. I don't like those kind of things.
Yeah.
But I would definitely lose an argument with Ralph. There's no way I would be able to keep my energy, my passion, my anger like that level against him. Like I'm too empathetic. I'd be slowly going down where I'm just like, right, you know what, man, you're right.
You're probably right.
No, let's just let this go.
Just set it aside.
You want to go get something to eat? You want to eat this?
Exactly.
Is this one me?
Yep, that's
okay,
you.
Okay, all right.
So would you with Ralph the dog?
What wouldn't we? Yeah,
exactly.
They let Ralph do anything here.
He's such a cool Muppet. I can't imagine anything I wouldn't do with him, as you said.
Would you rather have this Muppet as your therapist or your personal trainer?
Oh my. Well, one of them seems glaringly crossed out.
Yeah. I thought the same thing too. You go ahead and go first, because I think we might not only on the same page, but we may go in different directions.
Okay, so as a personal trainer, I don't think I would hire him as my personal trainer. Not to say that like he couldn't be active if he wanted to, because in the original Muppet movie, when he's like at the bar, this is probably like too deep to look into, but before him and Kermit sing that song, the Can't Live With Them, I love that song. He says, I take myself for a walk. So we know he's kind of active, or he can be, but I don't think I'd hire him as my personal trainer. As a therapist, I don't know if he would take it seriously. And I think he would be a little bit of an enabler. A little bit. Without meaning to.
Yeah.
I think that Ralph is like, I'm not saying he's a bad Muppet. I almost said person. He's not like a bad Muppet or anything like that. I don't think he's evil or corrupt or anything, but I don't know if he would like take it totally serious. Maybe he's like a good person to vent to, but after like he's done listening to you, he might just be like, it's like one word answers that
Yeah.
you can't decipher, and
Yeah.
you're like, well, what do you mean? And yeah, so those are kind of my thoughts on it.
Oh,
I mean, I guess I've landed on therapist.
Yeah. I wouldn't have Ralph as my therapist because I like Ralph, and I don't think it would be good for him. I feel like
You don't want him to hear it.
No, I'm way too serious and have had way too dark of a life. I don't feel it's fair to him. I feel like
fair.
Ralph, the therapist, Ralph goes to school, wants to help people,
Ralph,
cares about this, gets his first gig. I show up and immediately this is not my field.
He walks up.
I wasted the last 5 years. I'm going to go flip burgers or something. I would burn Ralph out in the first session.
Oh my gosh.
I like the idea of Ralph as a personal trainer. Now, it's a little weird. Like they always say, you never trust a skinny cook.
Right.
That kind of thing. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but your personal trainer should not weigh more than you, or maybe not look like that, or whatever, or something. But if you need encouragement, if you need somebody to motivate you and everything, or maybe not motivate you, but
maybe
like you're
he would
being
roast you
yeah,
while you're
yes, yeah, maybe a bit of a motivator there, maybe a bit of a that would push you. Or if you are somebody who wants to say they're going to work out but actually never work out, Ralph is your guy.
Yeah.
Ralph is the guy.
Like, yeah, I'll be your personal trainer.
Yeah.
Maybe $200 to say you do work out. I'm your guy.
Hey, we should go to the gym at 1. Sure. But before that, want to watch a movie? Sure. And like 4 hours later, well, we gotta go to the gym. Oh, yeah.
No, you were really serious, were you?
Ralph would be great for that. Ralph would be a great partner.
I really like that perspective. That's really funny. Now just imagining Ralph in like a tracksuit is pretty funny.
Oh, that's good too. Yes, a straight up
and like a visor.
tracksuit. Yeah, a red tracksuit.
I can see that he likes wearing the workout clothes. I could see him being like, they're comfy. I like wearing them.
That's
but
all.
Not intentionally.
But not at all working out.
Yeah,
Yes.
Exactly.
Ralph also seems like the type like he would like to hang out at a gym, but not actually work out.
Yeah,
he's just got a juice. He's got his juice and he's bopping around.
So like, I'm just here for the vending machine.
Yeah.
Oh, Ralph, that's amazing. Oh my goodness.
I know all these were going to come across eventually.
Yeah.
But some of these are just so poignant in the timing and earliness that we're getting to them.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we got to Ralph.
Yeah, me too. And just imagining him walking into that little fictional green room with the other Muppets just makes me happy.
It's a beautiful shot. And I think that all these characters are going to get some good feedback when they walk in. Nobody like Ralph, where it's Norm from Cheers. Ralph! And everybody knows him. And it's just, oh, Ralph! And come on, let's step up to the piano, Ralph.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Now I want to hear like a rendition of, maybe it exists, but Ralph singing Piano Man.
You had...
What were you thinking of that?
As I went like this, I was gonna say piano. Go on and play Piano Man, but I didn't say it.
Oh my gosh.
That is weird.
That is weird.
Boy.
Wow. Well, this just because it's Ralph, like it reminded me of a little story. It doesn't have to do with Ralph, but I feel like if I told him this story, he would cheers me. He would appreciate it. So the first time I remember hearing Piano Man, I think I was driving to like Ashland with my family, and I was like a preteen, and we were coming out of a little like trinket store, and we're parked like on the side of like the Main Street road, and there's some motorcycles, and the guys get on and they turn their motorcycle on, and Piano Man starts playing, and they're like, oh yeah, let's go, and they're like super like jacked about it. They drive off. And I like hear the tune, and I'm like, that sounds like such a good song. So I asked my mom, and she's like, oh, that's Piano Man by Billy Joel. And I remember thinking inside my brain, and maybe it was because of the correlation with like bikers, bars, but I remember telling myself the first time I'm ever in a bar and I have a drink, I'm gonna go to the jukebox and I'm gonna play Piano Man. And I did that.
And you did.
And I did. Yes.
That's awesome. Oh, that's cool. Right.
So I feel like Ralph would appreciate that little snippet of a story.
Ralph would love that story.
Yeah.
Ralph would love that story.
I think it would be a perfect segue into him like playing the Piano Man.
Oh, I used to love when the Muppets would do, like they have on the Celebrity, and they do like a rendition of one of their hit songs or something, and sometimes change up the lyrics a little bit or whatever. What a perfect one that would have been.
amazing. Yeah, there's so many opportunities for lyric changes.
I gotta think Billy Joel was on that show at one point or another.
Yeah,
I'm
I would
almost certain
think
he
so.
was. Maybe not. We'll
Yeah,
have to look.
who knows?
We'll find out. Maybe in the next another episode down the line, we'll have that information for you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for helping us find the rainbow connection, everybody.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. Thank you, as always, as we say at the end of these episodes, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, for following, and for becoming a little Muppet head with us. It means the world.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. See you later.